President's son, Hunter Biden, has now officially pled not guilty in a Los Angeles court today. These are for tax charges. The judge in the case proposing that trial starts June 20th. Now, the special counsel appointed by Merrick Garland, who was, of course, appointed by President Biden, accuses President Biden's son of basically tax evasion and spending money on everything but, quote, his taxes. All of this is coming as both sides had initially been close to a plea that would have avoided this prosecution and trial, but it was dropped. Now, that's the legal case. The politics, though, suffuse this thing. Republicans have tried to link Hunter's situation to President Biden and fast-track basically ploys in Congress to merge the cases, to smash them together somehow. Republicans now holding 2 committee votes that would hold Hunter in contempt of Congress over clashes about him testifying in the Biden impeachment inquiry. Hunter Biden, of course, made waves by basically doing a kind of surprise counterattack where he said he would testify, but only in public to Congress, not in a secret proceeding that he and his aides say would basically risk exploitation for Republican propaganda. We're joined now by NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli in L.A., where Hunter Biden was for the arraignment. Andrew Weissman with us. Mike, what happened?
Well, Ari, as I continue to look down at my phone, we're getting live updates from inside the courtroom where this hearing is still underway. And you mentioned this is the headline as we have it so far, that the judge in this case, Mark Scarsi, has set an initial trial date of June 20th for this trial on these tax charges to begin. Of course, Hunter Biden also faces a separate set of gun-related charges, which is being handled by a Delaware court. And so the discussion as it's happening right now behind me in the courthouse is making sure on the part of Abbe Lowell, the lawyer for the son of the President of the United States, Hunter Biden, that neither of these trials will end up in conflict with each other. Now, Ari, you know I'm usually a campaign reporter. I'm much more comfortable in a caucus than a courthouse. And so I look at this court date, this trial date of June 20th, and I immediately think of the political calendar here. We're talking about the heat of a presidential year. We're talking about 1 month before the Republican convention, 2 months before the Democratic convention. And so obviously the question is, how much will these ongoing legal proceedings continue to affect President Joe Biden as he seeks a second term? But we know, of course, that the former president, his likely opponent at this point, also has his hands full with multiple different cases across the country as well. Yeah, makes sense. And as you say, there's a lot of collision on the calendar. I will tell you, Mike, to take a brief diversion, we know you as a very fair and objective reporter, whether it's a caucus or a courthouse. So that's our view here from the mothership. And thank you very much for that report. Andrew Weissman's still with us. For those who look at a case like this, it is unusual. It is what is supposed to be an independent Justice Department, and using the special counsel for that purpose, opening up this prosecution of the son of the current president. That alone is striking. Tell us about that situation, and then any thoughts you have specifically on these charges, which, even if they're not always brought in a criminal setting for taxes, are not nothing. Like all defendants, he's presumed innocent in the courtroom, but some of these charges could amount to something serious.
Oh, absolutely. With respect to the severity, I do think there are a lot of questions about the gun charge because of it's so rare to charge that particular offense, having a gun while you're addicted. That's just not a crime that, in my experience over 20 years in the Justice Department as the head lawyer at the FBI, that I've ever seen charged. That is one where you would normally see some kind of treatment being the kind of remedy as opposed to a criminal case. But that, with respect to tax charges, those are brought. And yes, Hunter Biden is presumed innocent at this point, but he will have a trial. He has an extremely able defense lawyer, and the jury will decide whether the case is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. I think that I sort of take the big picture of this. If you step away from it, the son of the president, is that you really have here almost exhibit A to the fact that Joseph Biden, the sitting president, is not engaged in weaponizing the Department of Justice. It is his Department of Justice who has indicted his own son. Yes, they appointed a special counsel, which is part of the Department of Justice, and the charges were brought. In other words, he did not interfere in any way with those charges being brought. That is just remarkably different than the way the Trump administration operated and the way in which Donald Trump is saying he would operate going forward if he were reelected. So I think that's sort of a big picture takeaway to my mind in terms of two different ways in which presidents and a former president view the rule of law and the proper role of the White House in connection with how they should be interfering or not in criminal cases. And I think this is such an exhibit to that hands-off approach that the current president promised when he was elected, that he is really walking the walk when it comes to even his own son being held to account in the criminal justice system.